William Morrow and HarperAudio present The Prospectors, a novel by Ariel Djanikian, performed by Jorjeana Marie and Samara Naeymi. A note before we begin. Don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider. It contains a map and family tree. For Gregory and Elisa, most trusted of guides. Oh, they scratches the earth, and it tumbles out, more than your hands can hold. Klondike, Canadian folk song.
Prologue. Klondike, 1898. In the narrow attic, Alice crouched under a sloping roof, one hand lightly balanced against a rough burlap bag of gold. The low voices of her sister and brother-in-law wafted below, mixed with the calls of sparrow and wren, until finally sweeping out of the house. She waited, then pushed the rope ladder so that it dropped and struck the lumber floor and descended rung by rung from her perch. The front door had been propped open, and the whole cabin was drenched in white light. No one had slept. Probably no one had gone to bed. The bench and chairs were askew at the table. Last night's bottles stood out, as well as a scatter of small cloudy glasses. The area under the bench was filthy with those mud patties that the boots carried in, and of course, later it would fall to her to clean them. Her head turned slowly toward the empty view of the claim. What world was this? In the last year, it had kept changing on her. It wouldn't hold still long enough for anyone to answer the question. She drifted toward the big outside, grabbing a straw hat off the iron peg and pushing it onto her head without pausing. The workers had taken their season's pay and left the pale, flapping tents across the creek mostly abandoned. On the bank, in fact, dangerously close to the fast-moving water, was a forgotten pan, dull tin and slightly concave, almost exactly the breadth of her hat. A toppled pile of pay dirt sat on a square of canvas next to the sluice. With a farm girl's intolerance for a half-finished job, she dug out a handful of dirt and dropped it into the pan. She scooped in creek water, and in a motion the workers had thought it a lark to teach her, twitched the pan around until the grayish water began to fly off the edge. A bright spot flashed in the cyclone, then another. She stopped her motions only once the water was gone. With a practiced precision, she touched her fingertip to the largest sliver of gold that was stuck to the base. Pure money transferred itself onto her skin. A thrill. They'd traveled 2,000 miles for this, into a treacherous land that was theirs and not theirs, in order to take a piece of metal and, as she was doing now, drop it assuredly into a pocket. Her eyes shot up. Across the creek, Clarence Barry, her brother-in-law, was making his way from his workers' tents. His big, round face was clenched and glum, and his thumbs were tucked into the 2 red lines of his favorite suspenders. Last night he had sprung at her and bullied her into retreat. She'd never felt a hate like that, though it was also proof, she had thought, of his own mounting uncertainties. Joining him now, descending the naked hill, was her sister Ethel, taking careful steps on the incline. Unlike her husband, Ethel was alert to Alice's presence, and her gaze caught quickly on the hunched figure at the water's edge. "Alice, come here. We want to talk to you." But the benefit of the wide land, the whooshing wind, the fast-moving creek, a sister's weak voice, she could neglect to hear what she did not want to hear. So, with sleeves sopping and heavy and with gravel crunching under her boots, Alice left the pan on the sluice and crossed claims 3 and 4 until she'd reached the pit marked 5. Ahead, on a bare part of ground and before the ragtag brush, was the low, tilting shed that stored the winter tools. She stopped, then took one more tentative step toward the shed's ill-fitted door.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?